Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when I was coming for this function, my mentor, Mr. Jim Ovia, was understandably apprehensive, bearing in mind my spectacular performance at the NBA conference. He was apprehensive whether I will come with my sneakers, like the governor of Para, with my Mango Park suit. But this time around, I don't know what the critics will end up saying. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our leader and presidential candidate, the quintessential Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his sterling leadership thus far and for his profound words this afternoon. It is an honor for me to walk by his side on our mandate to take our nation to greater heights. If you have had time to read the recently launched manifesto, you will see that we have developed a truly comprehensive action plan. I will briefly walk through the various elements. My colleagues will talk about our fiscal and monetary policies, the oil and gas sector, technology, the creative arts, education, health, entertainment, and sports. I will therefore not talk much about these areas. I will start with a topic that we know is on everyone's mind at this time: security. We recognize that insecurity is a major deterrent of private enterprises and investments, not to talk of the threat to life and livelihoods. That is why we plan to adopt a proactive and intelligence-driven approach to addressing the nation's security challenges. This will include bolstering security forces in numbers, training, equipment, salaries, and welfare. In the last 8 years, our defense budget has increased from 400 billion naira to 1.2 trillion naira per annum. In similar vein, our administration is prepared to make the necessary further investments in order to significantly reduce the nation's security threats. On the other topical matter of the economy, our target, as rightly encapsulated by my principal, is to achieve double-digit GDP growth within a couple of years. The next speaker will talk about the fiscal and monetary policies that will underpin this growth. And of course, we cannot achieve such rapid but necessary sustainable economic trajectory without the requisite infrastructure base. Therefore, we plan to partner with you, the private sector, to undertake a national campaign to develop the infrastructure necessary to facilitate profitable enterprise and improved quality of life. We will continue to engage with you to ensure we are providing you with the support you require in order to develop and implement bankable projects. Of particular note are our planned reforms to reposition Nigeria for sufficient on-grid power generation, transmission, and distribution. We currently transmit about 4,500 megawatts, which is far below our installed generation capacity of approximately 12,000 megawatts. We probably need to generate and deliver 20,000 megawatts to drive rapid economic growth and development in the near to medium term. To this end, we will also implement reforms to drive investment in rural and renewable energy. Addressing our power issue is not a luxury, but a necessity and must be treated as such. And globally, housing development is a big stimulator of economic growth and improved quality of life. With this understanding, we will introduce policies aimed at reducing the housing deficit across the country. This will include streamlining the land conveyancing process and providing the necessary incentives to boost mortgage lending as well as consumer credit in general. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Nigeria to manufacture, create, and invent more of what Nigerians consume. As such, the Tinubu administration will work to align our infrastructure priorities with the Industrial Master Plan and introduce policies and incentives to encourage local production. As we have seen over the last few years, we cannot continue to be as import dependent as we have been. And shortly, my colleague Olu will also share more details about our plans to reform the oil and gas sector and how we are going to accelerate the full implementation of the PIA so as to fast-track the realization of the expected benefits to all stakeholders, including the use of our gas resources for the nation's electricity industry. Similarly, our action plan for agriculture will focus on how to increase agricultural productivity, mechanization, food security, and farm incomes. The impact of the recent floods on farms and lives has been a wake-up call for all of us. Our plans include establishing commodity boards, deepening the use of commodity exchanges, modernizing and enhancing our grain reserves, providing supporting infrastructure, and improving access to finance. As you may well imagine, another key priority for us is implementing reforms in the education and healthcare sectors aimed at raising the quality of lives of Nigerians, rich and poor alike. We expect to significantly improve the education sector by focusing on the following key indices: quality, access, funding, management, effectiveness, and competitiveness. The key thrust of our approach is to ensure that there is quality education for all. Technical and vocational education is improved, and tertiary education is placed on a solid and sustainable path. We are confident that these improvements will also yield significant benefits to employers. And as the saying goes, health is wealth. We'll therefore promptly address our nation's healthcare challenges, including inadequate health infrastructure, fragmentation, an overburdened workforce, poor insurance coverage, high maternal and infant mortality, inadequate preventive care, and dependence on imported medicines and vaccines. Please let me use this opportunity to applaud the role the private sector has been playing in augmenting the efforts of the three tiers of government in the education and health spaces. Mention must be made of the recent intervention by the private sector during the COVID pandemic. We trust we can count on your continued support. As progressives, we believe that to build a successful nation, you need the healthy collaboration of government, private sector, and non-governmental organizations. We also recognize that in some areas, it is the duty of the government to shoulder the lion's share of the responsibility. Needless to say, the execution of effective and targeted social programs is one such area. To this end, we will work with and for our youth, women, and the vulnerable, providing them with legitimate avenues to fulfill their greatest aspirations. We will both teach people to fish and feed them while they cannot feed themselves. Our social programs will include providing a mix of conditional and unconditional income support to the very poor, elderly, and disabled persons. As you know, one of Nigeria's impediments to attracting much needed investment has been concerns about the sanctity of contract and rule of law. Undoubtedly, the economic growth we are targeting can only be achieved by prioritizing improvements in our judicial system. The Tinubu administration will ensure that the legal sector functions transparently and with due process. Our policies will be based on judicial independence and integrity, respect for the rule of law, and appropriate legal framework, access to justice for all, and equality before the law. In addition, the Tinubu administration We'll work with the National Assembly and all stakeholders to amend the legislative list in the Constitution to ensure that states are given greater control over certain critical matters. These include crime prevention, prisons, stamp duties, and certain forms of taxation. Furthermore, the Tinubu administration will review the Federation Revenue Allocation System to recalibrate the divisions of funds amongst all three tiers of government. In so doing, our nation will attain the right balance between our collective purpose and our disparate realities at the grassroots. Last, but by no means the least, we will calibrate our foreign policy to support and promote the achievement of our economic and social objectives, especially regarding trade and security. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now it's for me to speak from the heart. The respect that the black man gets in the world is directly tied to the performance of the Nigerian nation. The nation is at a crossroad, never before in the history of this nation. To paraphrase a great writer, the nation, the government, and the people are all trapped in a web of madness, in a circus of insanity, in a cauldron of sheer lunacy. Because the foibles of our ignoble past and the harrowing torments of a global economy in implosion has exacted an agonizing toll from a hapless citizenry. Nobody, we are not promising you heaven on earth, but we are promising you a hope for a better tomorrow. When you want to conduct the orchestra, you turn your back on the crowd. This gentleman seated is one of the most demonized Nigerians. But get it from me. Take it from me. As I have always said, the true hallmark of leadership is not the ability to carry a bag of cement. And Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are not preparing for the Olympics, but an institution that relies on the superiority of ideas and track records. And show me, I dare to challenge you, show me among all the contestants for the presidency of this country, who has the experience, who has the track record, and of course, who has the intellect to catapult this nation to a higher pedestal. Leadership, Your Excellencies, goes beyond glamorizing poverty. No. We don't glamorize poverty, we fight poverty. I won't tell you that I have 2 pairs of shoes, or I have a single watch. No. Leadership goes beyond spewing dubious statistics or basking in a mediocre performance as the governor of Anambra State. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I respect Atiku Abubakar, but leadership goes beyond unstatesman-like rantings, someone who cannot unite his own party. I wonder how he's going to unite this nation. The world is talking of artificial intelligence, of big data, of nanotechnology. The training that the elder statesman got from Kano School of Hygiene was that of a wole. And believe me, the ability to sell bottled water doesn't make one an expert on the economy. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my part, in short, is that Atiku Abubakar is no Abraham Lincoln. He is more of Raila Odinga. And come next year, we are going to permanently retire the political tourists back to Dubai. Thank you so much.